Hello everybody, Twitter back in another video. Oh boy, what a final we just witnessed. What a Cincinnati Monster 1000 final 2023 we just saw between the world number one Carlos Alcaraz and the world number two Novak Djokovic. This is for sure maybe the match of the year. Maybe the only match that surpasses this as the match of the year is the Wimbledon final 5 weeks ago between the same dudes, Alcaraz and Djokovic. These two guys doesn't disappoint. These two fellas doesn't disappoint. These two dudes doesn't disappoint. When they play each other, they deliver. Those who saw this final at the United States, Cincinnati, Ohio, they really got paid for the money. They really got they really got an unbelievable show. What a show. What a entertainer these two guys are. What entertainers these two guys are. I should say it over and 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 over again. What a show. What entertainers these two are. Oh man, what a final. Even though this was not a Grand Slam final, it felt like a Grand Slam final, maybe even better. Because when you think about it, my tennis friends all around the world, when we get these Grand Slam finals, majority of them, they are not excited. They are not. We get sometimes Grand Slam finals when the matches go to the distance, but majority of the times we get a one-man show, a straight set victory. As best we can get a 4-set match. We don't get many 5-set matches in Grand Slam finals. Just look at this year. Australian Open final, Djokovic defeats Tsitsipas in straight sets. French Open final, Djokovic defeats Casper Ruud in straight sets. Wimbledon, yeah, that was a great final, and that final really delivered to all those big expectations that we had to get a good, great, close final. Wimbledon, yes, it was good, but like I said, majority of the times we don't see Grand Slam finals being super entertainment, super close, like I just demonstrated in this video. And if we look at last year, Nadal versus Medvedev, great Australian Open final last year, 2022. Super great show. We went through distance. French Open final, straight sets victory for Nadal against Casper Ruud. Wimbledon final, 4 sets victory for Novak Djokovic against Nick Kyrgios. Even though that 4 sets victory never went to a distance between Djokovic and Kyrgios, but it was a really good 4-set match, I should say. And then we had that US Open last year between Alcaraz and Casper Ruud, who also went to 4 sets. My point is, we don't get many Grand Slam finals who goes to the distance, and if you compare that with this Monster 1000 final we just saw, which went 3 hours and 49 minutes. That is a record. That is a record in the Cincinnati Monster 1000 history. Cincinnati has never had a longer match than this one we just saw. What a match, my tennis fans all around the world. Those who watched the match live at the United States, big congratulations to them. Those who were on the stands, those who were live in Ohio, in Cincinnati, big congratulations to them for seeing this kind of a great super show. And even those who saw this match on the TV, congratulations to them as well, because this was a really entertaining final. You never knew the winner. You never really knew the winner. It was a roller coaster final, like Djokovic said after the final. He said we both had ups and downs, lows and highs. Both Djokovic and Alcaraz, Djokovic is a great tennis analyst. He's not only a great tennis player, he's also a great tennis analyst. He described it perfectly. Both Djokovic and Alcaraz, they had their ups and downs, they had their highs and lows throughout the match. And can we blame them? Of course not. When you play a tennis match almost 4 hours, it is impossible playing perfect tennis. They are, after all, human beings. They are not any tennis machines, even though that we sometimes seem to think that. What a final, man. What a match. What can we say about the match? Djokovic got the best start. He got a break in the middle of the first set. Alcaraz broke immediately, and then Alcaraz broke him again for the second time towards the end of the first set, and won that first set. Alcaraz won it 7-5. Deservedly, he was the better player in the first set, Alcaraz, especially on his serve plus forehand game, on his serve plus game overall. He was just putting away balls. He was just hitting through Novak Djokovic better than vice versa. And Alcaraz won that first set very deservedly. And then in the second set, Alcaraz got an early break as well in the second set. In the beginning of the second set, Alcaraz gets a break. So Alcaraz was a set up and a break. He was one set up and with a break in the second set. So Alcaraz had everything on the highway to win this match. All right, he was like I said, one set up and he had a 4-2 lead in the second set. All right, but Djokovic, the warrior, the machine, the predator, the never giving up attitude that he has, he struck back and he came back and he broke Alcaraz in that 7th game of the second set, if I'm not mistaken, where Alcaraz was serving in that 4-2 game, and he broke to 4-3. I don't know anyway, I don't know if it was 4-3. Anyway, when Alcaraz was up in the lead in the second set with a breakup, Novak broke back. And he leveled the match. And then they went toe-to-toe with each other to play the first tiebreak of the final. Because we saw 2. I will come to that later. And then in that tiebreak in the second set, they went toe-to-toe against each other. And the player who got to the first match point, the first championship point, was Carlos Alcaraz in that 5-6 point. And Alcaraz had one championship point, but it was in Novak's serve. And Novak, the clutch beast, the clutch monster, the clutch terminator that he is, he really delivered when he had the back on the back, when he had the back towards the wall, when he had the knife under the throat, he just came up with a big serve forehand combo and saved that championship point that Alcaraz had in Novak's serve and leveled the second set tiebreak to 6-all. I cannot blame Carlos Alcaraz there. It was all Djokovic. Djokovic saved that with a huge first serve and a huge forehand winner. So Carlos Alcaraz should really not blame himself. Should really not blame himself for not taking that championship point, because Djokovic saved himself there. Djokovic he escaped from jail there, if I could say like that. He escaped from jail because you are 1 point away of losing, all right? And have we not seen Djokovic do this before? How many times have we seen Novak Djokovic having the knife under his throat and doing Houdini escapes? How many times? He has done it a lot of times. versus Roger Federer, an all-time great, a 20 times Grand Slam champion like Roger Federer. He has done it 3 times to be precise. 2 times at US Open 2010 in the semifinals and 2011 in the semifinals, and not to forget the most famous one and the most heartbreaking one for us Roger Federer fan, like you guys know, you who follow my channel, I'm a big Roger Federer fan, when Novak Djokovic did that unbelievable Houdini escape in that 2019 Wimbledon final when he saved 2 championship points, and he did that in Novak serve. So how many times have we seen Djokovic do this Houdini escapes? How many times? Many times. Only this year we have seen it doing him twice. Only this year. He, for God's sakes, when he won Adelaide earlier this year, he saved 1 championship point against Sebastian Court as well. Earlier this year. If you guys have forgotten, I will remind you. He did that earlier this year when he won that Adelaide title. He was actually one championship point down against Korda. He saved that one, and he now does it against a superior, unbelievable tennis player like Carlos Alcaraz. Carlos Alcaraz is a superstar. Carlos Alcaraz is a double-digit Grand Slam winner. Only an injury can stop him. He is 20 years old, for God's sakes. He has already won 2 Grand Slam titles. And one of them that he has won, he has defeated the most Grand Slam titleist of all time, the 23 Grand Slam winner, Novak Djokovic, in that Wimbledon final, only just 1 month ago. So, Djokovic saving championship points against a beast, against a superior, against a super talented tennis player like Carlos Alcaraz. This is murderous impressive. Murderous impressive. I was thinking to myself when Carlos Alcaraz had that championship point, I said to myself, Djokovic is not out yet. For God's sakes, Carlos Alcaraz has won all of his 4 matches at Cincinnati in 3 sets. All of his 4 opponents that he has defeated before facing Novak Djokovic in this final, all of them has taken sets from Carlos Alcaraz. Will he defeat the all-time great, the greatest tennis player of all time, the 23 Grand Slam winner, Novak Djokovic, in straights? I had hard to believe that. I will be honest with you. I had hard to believe that. And he didn't. He didn't. He didn't defeat him. He didn't defeat him. Not in straight sets. And he didn't defeat them. He didn't defeat him at all. In the end of the day, it was Djokovic who crossed that hard, difficult finish line. Even though it was not with much. It was maybe only with inches, but it was him who was the last man standing after 3 hours and 49 minutes. And I said to myself, I have seen this Hollywood movie before. I have seen this script before. If Djokovic saves championship point in the second set, which he did, and won that second set tiebreak 9-7, Novak Djokovic, he can win this final. I would not be shocked. I was telling to myself, if he goes on and win this one. Because it didn't look that great for Novak Djokovic in the end of that first set and in the beginning of the second set. He looked exhausted. Like we have seen also him look many times in the past, especially when it comes to big, when it is heavy weather with big degrees and huge heat, like it was in this final. It was a very hot day, and Novak, we all know, he doesn't like super heavy, hot conditions. It makes him look exhausted, and it did. In the end of the first set and the beginning of the second set, Novak he didn't look like a winner. He really didn't look like a winner. He looked like more or less almost like a dead man on the court. He could barely move. He looked exhausted. But the trainer came into the court. Even the doctor, they gave him some, I don't know what they gave him. So he got some energy back, and then he was back on track, and he looked much fresher from the, especially after Alcaraz really gave him a Christmas present. And that in that middle of the second set, when Alcaraz was up with a break in the second set, when Novak broke back to level the match in the second set, he was still behind the score because Novak obviously lost the first set, but he at least was level on breaks in the second set. He was not a breakdown anymore. When he came back in the second set, he did that with Carlos' help. That was probably Carlos Alcaraz's worst game in the entire match, because Novak didn't do much. He just put the ball into the court, but Carlos, he pushed that Santa Claus button. In that game, Carlos pushed that Santa Claus button. He really did, with with unforced errors, with forehand and backhand, and it was just he just gave away that game. Djokovic didn't win that game. Carlos Alcaraz lost that game. And then Djokovic, after that, he said to Carlos Alcaraz, he sent the message, "Thank you very much for giving me the little hope that I needed to be back in this match, and now I will fight like my life is on the line." And he really did, and he took that second set to tiebreak. He won that second set tiebreak 9-7 after saving a championship point, like I said, in that 5-6 point with a big first serve and a big forehand winner. And then in the third set, Djokovic broke first in the beginning of the third set, but Alcaraz, also the warrior that he is, the never giving up attitude that he has, when Novak was serving for the title in the 10th game of the third set, in that 5-4 game. It was a really long game, who took, I believe, over 10 minutes, something like that 10th game of the third set. Before that, Djokovic had 2 championship points in Alcaraz serve in that 5-3 game, in that 9th game of the third set. So Djokovic had actually 2 championship points in Alcaraz serve. But Alcaraz was coming up with great shots, with great passing shots, because let's face it, he's an unbelievable shot maker, Carlos Alcaraz. And he has all the tools. He has forehand, backhand, serve, returns, drop shots, stamina, shot tolerance. He's lightning fast. He is a complete package. So Djokovic, he was just laughing when Carlos Alcaraz was saving those championship points in that 5-3 game in the third set. Djokovic was just laughing. But I think that we all knew, when Djokovic will try to serve out the title in that 5-4 game, that it will not be easy. And it for sure was not. We got a really long game, over 10 minutes, and Djokovic came up with 2 championship points again, now in his own serve. So he had 4 championship points in the 9th game and the 10th game in the third set. 2 championship points in Carlos' serve in the 9th game, which he really couldn't do much. It was all big credit to Carlos for saving them. And then in the 10th game, he had 2 more championship points, now in his own serve. And one of them he actually double faulted. So one of them he double faulted, which he was nervous, of course. He can't feel it. He knows that Carlos Alcaraz is not like all the other players. He is legit. He is serious. He is a big deal. He is the real deal. And after over 10 minutes game in that 5-4 game in the third set, Carlos broke Novak back and leveled the third set to 5-all. And then they went to a tiebreak, the second consecutive tiebreak of the final. And then in that third set tiebreak, once again Djokovic prevailed. Once again, the tiebreak beast, the tiebreak machine, the tiebreak terminator that he is, he won the third set tiebreak 7-4. With really a very, very great tiebreak from Novak Djokovic in the third set. In the third set tiebreak, Novak's third set tiebreak was actually a little better than his second set tiebreak. His second set tiebreak, both of the players they were up and down. They both made unexpected, unforced errors. So, but in the third set tiebreak, Novak, he really closed that unforced error store. I believe if I'm not mistaken, he maybe did only one unforced error in that third set tiebreak. He really decided that, you know what, I will not beat myself. If this dude, this young kid, 20 years old from Spain, will beat me, then he really needs to deliver his A game, because I refuse to beat myself, and it was exactly what happened. Djokovic didn't beat himself in the third set tiebreak. He closed that unforced error store in the third set tiebreak and won that third set tiebreak 7-4. And won his 39th Master 1000 title. Of course, this is a record. He had the record himself before. Now he's just extending that record. The second behind him is Rafa Nadal with 36. And now he also even extends the big title lead. Now he has won 68 big titles overall. Nadal has won 59. So Novak has won 9 more big titles than Nadal. And Federer has won 54. So Djokovic has won 54. What I'm saying, I'm sorry. Yeah, 54. Yeah, 54. So Djokovic has now 15 more big titles than Roger Federer and 9 more big titles than Rafael Nadal. Man, I'm just. What a match. I don't know if I should even mention the stats. I can do it some little fast here. Even in this final, exactly like 1 month ago, 5 weeks ago at Wimbledon, Alcaraz actually out-aced Djokovic. Alcaraz did 11 aces, Djokovic did only 2 aces, exactly like at Wimbledon. In Wimbledon as well, Djokovic did only 2 aces. So Alcaraz obviously is doing more aces than Djokovic. Now, in 2 straight matches, he is out-acing Djokovic. Alcaraz did 5 double faults, and Djokovic also did 5 double faults. So, in the ace double faults department, Alcaraz did a much better job than Djokovic. Even in the winning points by first serve, even in this final, exactly like the Wimbledon final, Alcaraz won even in this final more points than his first serve. Alcaraz won 72% behind his first serve. Djokovic won only 67% behind his first serve. At least Djokovic won a little more points behind his first serve than he did in Wimbledon 1 month ago, where he won only 62% behind his first serve 1 month ago, Novak Djokovic. Here, Djokovic at least won 67% of the points behind his first serve. But Alcaraz still wins more points behind his first serve than Djokovic with 72%. In the points winning behind second serve, Djokovic did exactly like at Wimbledon, a better job than Alcaraz. He won astonishing 64% of the points behind his second serve. That is unbelievable, man. 64%. He almost wins as many points behind his second serve that he does behind winning point behind his first serve. 64% Djokovic wins of the points behind his second serve. 67% Djokovic wins of the points behind his first serve. Alcaraz won 48% of the points behind his second serve. So Djokovic outmatched Carlos Alcaraz in the winning points behind his second serve. This is actually surprisingly, if you look at the percent of serves that they landed, Djokovic was under 60%. He lands only 57% of his serves, Novak Djokovic. Only 57%. And he still wins. That is an indicator for me that Alcaraz he's definitely not as good and as sharp and as consistent like he was at Wimbledon 5 weeks ago. And that's why I picked Djokovic to win this final tonight. Just because I just had that feeling that Alcaraz is not playing as good, as consistent, as solid tennis as he did at Wimbledon 5 weeks ago. Because Djokovic landing of only 57% first serve in, and he still wins the match against a great returner like Alcaraz is. That shows to us that Alcaraz is not on his he's not on his best shape of form. He's not. Alcaraz lands 64% first serve sin, which is a great number. He landed much more first serve sin than Djokovic. Djokovic lands 57%, Alcaraz lands 64% of the first serves. So, and Alcaraz actually broke Novak's serve more times. He broke Novak's serve 4 times. So Djokovic broke only 3 times. So, but you know what, guys, how tennis works. You need to win the bigger points. You need to win the most important points, and that was not the case with Alcaraz. He didn't win the tiebreaks. And where were the most important points? They were on the tiebreaks, on the second set tiebreak and on the third set tiebreak. Alcaraz lost both of those tiebreaks. We have seen this script before. When Federer lost the Wimbledon final 2019, he lost all the 3 tiebreaks that they played. And this happened to Alcaraz as well. The difference is that it was not the Grand Slam final. This was a Master 1000 final. So Alcaraz, even though he broke Novak's serve 4 times and Novak broke Alcaraz's serve 3 times, Alcaraz lost the final anyway because he didn't win the bigger points. And if you look at the winner unforced stat, you know which of the channels I should trust. Some show other stats, some others show other stats. One stat that I saw immediately after the final was that Alcaraz did 50 winners and 42 unforced errors, which makes it to 8 more unforced errors than winners. It is not a disaster, but it is definitely not as great as it was at Wimbledon 5 weeks ago, where he did 66 winners and 45 unforced errors. So, he does 21 more winners and unforced errors at Wimbledon 5 weeks ago, Carlos Alcaraz. Now he does 50 winners and only 42 unforced errors, 50 unforced errors and 42 winners. So he does 8 more unforced errors than winners. And Novak, on the other hand, he was also not great in this stat. He did 46 unforced errors and only 19 winners. So Novak does 27 more unforced errors than winners. If you watch one stat, one channel, another channel that showed completely different numbers on the winners and unforced errors stat. They showed 42 winners on Alcaraz and only 22 unforced errors. So if you look at that stat, it shows that Alcaraz did 20 more winners and unforced errors, and Novak did 28 winners and only 20 unforced errors. So if you look at that stat, Novak does 8 more winners and unforced errors. I don't know which of them are correct. I think that the first mentioned one that I mentioned, I think that is more correct. That is my feeling. If you guys know which of these are more correct, is it the first one that I mentioned of the winners and unforced errors stat, or is it the second one? And if you look all points won, Novak Djokovic won 133 points in total, and Carlos Alcaraz won 128 points in total. So Novak Djokovic wins 5 more points than Carlos Alcaraz in total in the match. So he only wins 5 more points. That is how close and how even this rivalry really is. Wimbledon was even closer. Alcaraz won at Wimbledon final 5 weeks ago 168 points, and Novak Djokovic won 166 points. So Alcaraz won in that Wimbledon final 5 weeks ago only 2 more points than Novak Djokovic. Djokovic 5 weeks later wins in total 5 more points than Carlos Alcaraz. So the match obviously was super close, and of course it could have gone either way, but in the end of the day, Djokovic, he was the clutcher player, for sure the clutcher player, with winning both of those tie breaks in the second and the third set. He was the cleaner player. He was the more, I don't know if he was the braver player. I don't know if I can call him braver, because Djokovic, when it comes to, when the matches get really close, like tie breaks and things like that, he doesn't go for big cuts on the ball and things like that. He mostly just plays really safe. He tries to have great depth on the ball, and he just tries to not beat himself. And that was what he did in the both second set tiebreak and the third set tiebreak. But for sure, he was the clasher player and he was the cleaner player. And that's why he in the end won this final. So big congratulations to Novak Djokovic for winning his 39th Masters 1000 title and for winning his 95th title overall in his career, and now he is third in that lead after Federer, who has 103 titles in total. Federer, who is second on that list, and then the leader on this list is of course Jimmy Connors with 109 titles. So Djokovic now surpasses Ivan Lendl, which he shared that third spot with Ivan Lendl with 94 title before. Now he is in that third spot alone with 95 titles. So guys, that's it. Now we go ahead to US Open, which starts about 10 days from now. Let's see what happens there, man. Carlos Alcaraz, like Djokovic said after the final, I just should wrap up this video with just commenting a little about what Djokovic said after the final. And he said that, oh boy, you really never give up. And he really never gives up, Carlos Alcaraz. So Djokovic knows that Djokovic doesn't have many slams left in him. He knows this. He bloody knows this. He said that after the final that I hope we face each other once again at New York a couple of weeks from now. And then when he said those words, he immediately after 2 seconds said, for the sake of the crowd, not for me, because he knows that he really doesn't want to face Carlos Alcaraz. Let's face it. He wants to face easier opponents. He doesn't want to play 3 hours and 49 minutes a 3-set match. Imagine if this was a Grand Slam final at US Open. Imagine. So Djokovic, he knows that Carlos Alcaraz is his biggest rival. Carlos Alcaraz is maybe his nemesis. Maybe. For God's sake, Carlos Alcaraz almost won this match. Almost won that second set tiebreak. And he could have won this match in straight sets. And then he would have been in the head-to-head lead 3-1. And we all would have said, I for sure would have said, I really would have said it, I will admit that, I will not lie to you guys, I would have said that Djokovic has never defeated a healthy Carlos Alcaraz from start to finish. That match he defeated him at Roland Garros 2 months ago in semi-final. He defeated a Carlos Alcaraz who collapsed physically with cramps after the second set. I would have said that. Now this is the first official match where Novak Djokovic has defeated Carlos Alcaraz from start to finish, a healthy, not cramping Carlos Alcaraz from start to finish. So I believe that this victory was much more important for Djokovic than it was for Carlos Alcaraz. Carlos Alcaraz, he knows. He has time on his side. He is super young. He is super fresh. He has all time in the world on his side. He knows that he will defeat Djokovic many times in the future in big semi-finals, in big finals, wherever they face each other. He knows this. He knows that. That's why he cried after the final. He cried. You all saw that, guys. Immediately after the final, he was crying, Carlos Alcaraz, because he expects so much from himself. He knows that he has everything. We have never seen a 20 years old tennis player this complete like Carlos Alcaraz. He has forehand, he has backhand, he has serve, he has return, he has net game, he has shot alert, he has drop shots, he's lighting fast. He has the whole package. He is a nightmare facing my tennis fans all around the world. If he's this difficult in defeating in 3 sets matches, imagine how difficult it is to defeat him in a 5-set match, where you need to take 3 sets from him. Not 1, not 2, you need to take 3 sets from him. He never gives up. He had that murderous, never giving up attitude. He has all the strokes. Djokovic knows his big dream, because I believe that Djokovic maybe has a big dream, and all the Djokovic fans are also out there, that to win 25 Grand Slam titles. He knows that winning 25 Grand Slam titles for Novak Djokovic, even though maybe it doesn't look that far away, 14 matches away, but with Carlos Alcaraz around, it is very far away still, my tennis fans all around the world, because Djokovic will have nightmares in defeating Carlos Alcaraz in the future in big Grand Slam finals, in big Master 1000 finals, you name it. Especially Grand Slam finals, Djokovic will have nightmares in defeating Carlos Alcaraz. But it is 7-8 days from now, so US Open starts. Let's see what happens when the last major of the year begins. Till then, I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, give it a thumbs up, subscribe, and see you next time. Peace.